Hello, Dave. Today is Sunday, July 31st, 2022. I am the Bro 9000, and I trust you are all functioning well today. Hello, everybody. I am Mr. Brown. Welcome to the show. I hope we find you well. Congratulations to the Lionesses. I'm sure we're not going to hear the last of it for at least a year, 2 years perhaps. So congratulations to them. Good game. So news of the week today, folks. There's a lot to get through. I think should we just get on with it? Let's just get the bodies out, as it were, from the green room, and let's just get on with it. Okay, so we see the good inside our first guest. He's the poshest boy on YouTube. It is the Dark Sith Lord Chord.
Evening all.
Evening. Hello there. You all right?
How are you doing? I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. What a fantastic result for the Lionesses.
Yeah. The result was really good. I did try and watch it.
Yeah, I watched some of it, yeah.
To be fair, compared to the last women's football competition I watched, the quality has improved so much. I mean, it is quite remarkable, but it is going to be made absolutely insufferable by the tens of thousands of think pieces that are now going to come out saying this proves that the women are just as good as the men. You can only understand this result because the men are shit. This is so much better than the men's victories because they behave like animals, etc. Ad nauseum. I just want to kind of enjoy the result without having more gender politics thrust down my throat in the name of a sport. And then, of course, as soon as they start inviting the comparison, I have to point out that the best women's team in the world lost like 16-1 to a team of under 15s in Australia. So if they want the comparison, they're welcome to it. I think the result's fantastic in its own right, and you shouldn't need to compare them with the men. But if they're going to compare them with the men, it will be irritating, and I will oblige in return.
I thought the highlight for me was when the winning goal scorer took a shirt off. That was fantastic.
that is guaranteed to boost viewership, I'm sure.
Good lass. Yes. So genuinely, I enjoyed it. I think women's football is pure football without any of the cynicism. So it was great. They deserve it. Well done, England. Shall we get the next body out?
Why not?
Next, he's back for his weekly dose of punishment. It is the wonderful, and he is Matt Cat 83.
What's up, nerds?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're not too bad. How's the channel going, my friend?
Oh, it's slowly but surely. It's going pretty good. I'm almost at 5,300. Not as good as Lord Cord, but we all can't be amazing like him.
I know we've got a long way to go, haven't we, Matt? To be as good as
he's a rock
wonder.
Star. But all, like you said before, his stuff is very posh, very smart, and everything. And me, I'm just peddling my dick joke. So it's.
Yes. So everything, it seems to me. Well, I had a quick look at your weekly review. All seems very good. So you seem to be doing the right stuff.
Yes,
so. You know what my next question is, don't you?
Yes, let's bring out that next guest. Let's do it.
Okay, let's wheel him out. And last, but by no means least, he is the wise elder of the channel, the writer, portal, director, paid-up member of the Selfridges Appreciation Society. He's the great mega geek himself, Ian David Diaz.
Hello.
Are you well?
I'm all right. Yeah, I think we should stop praising Lord Cord now. It's getting a bit boring.
Yeah. Fuck you, Lord Cord.
Yeah, exactly.
Lord Cord, just let us know when you get bored of being praised. Yes.
Unironically, the most awkward thing that makes me cringe without fail that I can never properly respond to is compliments. So you've been torturing me the entire time you've been saying this.
Okay, we'll keep doing it then. Okay.
Yeah, me too. I get tortured by compliments. Don't compliment me.
Hashtag me too.
I think you got to learn how to accept compliments. That's all. It's just the thing, really. Either run away from them or accept it and say thank you very much. That's all you have to say, really. I reckon.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much.
Yeah, deserved. He's doing a good job. So you well, Ian?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm sad that Lieutenant
I
O'Hara,
know.
there's
I
there's
know.
Klingons
Can you
on the
believe it?
starboard bow is gone.
Not anymore, though, isn't
Basically.
it?
Yeah, just gorgeous woman when she was in her
Yeah.
prime.
Yeah.
I mean, still a wonderful woman inside as well, as far as I can tell. The interviews, I never met her, but I've seen
Yes.
interviews in her and stuff like that. And
Yes.
you know,
Yeah, Go
she's
ahead,
great.
sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I met her. She came here to Grand Rapids to one of our Comic Cons, and or well, not a Comic Con, it was a con, and she was so nice. She was like the nicest person. I can't say anything bad about her. She was so sweet.
Did you see? They used to have a show called I can't remember what it's called,
Star
but this
Trek?
guy named there's this guy named Justin. I think it was ITV, and he used to go and team up old shows. Like he did one on
Oh,
the
I know, yeah.
A-Team. What was that called?
Justin Lang, or he was
Okay, yeah.
a Bristolian comedian. I
Yes.
forget his surname.
So basically, he take a TV show and try and find all the actors and try and bring them all together.
Yeah.
So he did one on Grange Hill, he did one on A-Team, and he did one on Star Trek. And I remember them camping outside her house, and she just letting them in, saying, "Oh, you want to interview me? Come in." Do you know what I mean? Unlike people like William Shatner, he didn't want to know. And in fact, I think they went to Spock's place first, and he said no, and then in the end, he said yes, and they interviewed him. So, and in the end, the whole idea of the show is that he would have he would rent out this place where they can all meet up and have a drink and talk about old times. But sometimes they wouldn't do that. Like for the A-Team, I think the only people that turned up was Face and Murdoch, and the rest of them. The guy that was chasing them all the time, he turned up as well. Mr. T didn't turn up though.
Lance
obviously.
Legault. He was a great actor.
He turned up. But yeah, so and Grange Hill, he did the Grange Hill one, which was quite fun as well. Chasing people, he chased one guy in Waterloo Station or something like that. But I always remember him going to her house and knocking on the door, and and her just saying, "Come in." Do you know what I mean? Not even knowing who they are. So, what a wonderful lady.
Hear, hear.
Shall we say hello to the chat? Hello, chats.
Hey, chat.
The regulars are in. Franco, Time Prophet is in. Andy, hello, Andy. Melvin, the great Melvin. MC. Geralt of Trivia. Hail. And Timmy. I think that's it. And Dermot. Hello, Dermot. Shall we get on with it, boys?
Yeah.
Free eye test. Ironically, I'm blind, and yet I can see that. Oh, amazing. Okay, so who watched the penultimate episode of the Orville? I'm going to take an educated guess here. Matt Cat.
Yeah, of course. This was a pretty good episode. I thought it was pretty good. Spoilers. Burke.
Spoilers, folks.
Yeah, Burke is no longer around, which I don't like it when shows do this thing where they bring on a character for that specific season just to kill him off. I'm like, what is the point of that? Because I don't feel anything when these new characters die.
Which one's Burke?
The blonde woman.
The one that started off that didn't like. What's his name? The robot.
Yeah, McFarlane's mistress.
Girlfriend. Yeah. I just when she died, I was like, I don't feel anything, because like we only knew her for like this season, and she was in my opinion, she was kind of a difficult person. She was very, very bitchy the whole time. So I'm like, oh well. So, but at the same time, it was a good episode. I enjoyed it immensely. Like,
it was channeling Return of the Jedi vibes, I thought.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree. It was a
very, very big space battle.
Yeah, they spent some money. I'm very curious to see if this will get another season, because I haven't heard any buzz about it. But I'm curious to see what they do for the season.
I think they have got another season, because
do they?
Yeah, I think was it last year or the year before, there was on the Twattersphere, it was saying that it was cancelled, no more after this season. And Tom Constantino, who's the producer, I had communications with him, and as soon as I found out, literally on the Saturday, it was literally hot news I just tweeted him saying, "Is it cancelled?" And to his credit, literally 10 minutes later, he said, "Don't worry about it." So
Did
I'm
anyone
thinking,
say? Did anyone in the battle at the ending say it's a trap? No, no.
no.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm kind of thinking she's going to come back, because whenever there's the term quantum and energy and explosion, I'm thinking she's going to come back as something else.
Did they
As a-
fire her coffin out into a planet that's called Genesis?
No. Genesis, give me. No, none of that.
Oh, okay.
So we've got one more episode to go, Matt.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see where they go from here.
Big episode.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see what they'll do if they do have a season 4. Who's going to be the big bad? Because the Kalons were the big bad of like this season. Well, they were kind of the big bads of last season too, but
Yeah, they're sorted now, aren't they? They're on the side.
So I do think that those spider creatures from, I think it was episode 2, will play a part in that. But and of course the Krill and the Mocklins. But I'm if they do a season 4, I will be interested to see where they go from here.
It has been extremely popular, and I think they'd be silly not to renew it.
I feel you.
The thing is, though, you can't tell when anything is popular these days. They could be lying through their teeth. Or
that's true.
Like, for instance, I don't believe a word, or when you go on Netflix, it always says what's number 1 and number 2, and people are watching. I don't believe it at all, not at all, because you see some shows and you think, I don't know anyone that's watching that, and yet that's number 3. Do you know what I mean? And it'll be some kind of political crap. You know what I mean? So it's just I don't believe any of the ratings now, because they're not making it transparent to the viewers. Like in the old days, it was just one thing. You find out from, what was it, ThinCom, didn't you? You find out from them.
Yeah.
But now they're hiding it for political reasons, and so I don't know. Maybe a lot of people are watching this. Maybe hardly anyone's watching it. Who knows? I don't know.
But the twatosphere is very...
That's not real. None of it's real. And plus, we know now that it's not the minority of people views on Twitter. It's just that the stupid Hollywood and stupid media listens to Hollywood, and it's obviously been taken over by, I hate saying this word, the left, or the mad people, as I would say. It's obviously taken over by them. So, that doesn't mean anything, really.
You'll know it's completely fucked if the Orville doesn't get another season, but Resident Evil does. I think that is the final proof of...
I wouldn't be surprised.
MC says people can be watching it. Doesn't mean it's good, though.
Yes, I'm saying. On I don't know if anyone's noticed, but on Netflix you can put a thumbs up or thumbs down now on shows. I don't know if you've seen that little.
Yeah, I've noticed it.
Yeah, I don't even bother. I just, you know what I mean. So,
in the chat, Andy Uhura has just been on telly. She died.
Yeah, she's dead.
Unfortunately,
she died yesterday.
Yeah. Andy, it's worse than that.
She's dead, Jim.
Yeah. I knew someone was going to complete that. Unfortunately, it was Ian. He completes me.
Yeah. I'm here all week. The Orville this season has been good, but as I've said, it's lost the kind of fun energy that season 1 and 2 had.
Wasn't that always going to be the case, though? Because I know McFarlane sort of had this idea of doing a faintly comedic Star Trek when he first started the Orville. I've still not seen any of it. And as it morphed into a more serious and sincere attempt to emulate Star Trek, of course, it was going to take on a more serious and
I think it's because of the channel. I think maybe he got pressure from Hulu or whoever's in charge. That's what I reckon, because I saw the first episode and I kind of liked it, but I because I haven't seen the rest of this, only saw the first episode of this season, and I was a bit odd because you didn't get the same tone as you did in the last season. Yeah. So maybe, maybe sucked up.
And not many people have picked up on it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe a lot of people's picked up on it, but the media is playing their record rather than what's really happening. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So As I said, all you got to do is go to those cons, and what's been proven a shadow of a doubt. If you look at all the media, everybody's saying that this new, what is it, Lord of the Rings thing is
Can't
a huge
wait for that.
success.
Cannot
And
wait.
when they went to
Right.
what you call it to Comic Con, it was quarter full in that hall. So do you know what I mean? Reality versus what they're spewing out there. Those two things are really different, aren't they? So, well, that's what I was told. It was half full. So there you go.
While I remember, Melvin Deeply, you are invited to come on here next week if you fancy taking part. Okay, so the Orville, while it's still good, we're enjoying it. There's the kind of, you can feel it in the background, but still genuinely looking forward to next week's final episode. So it'll be interesting to see what they've got in store for us. So let's move on. Better Call Saul.
I haven't had a chance to see any of that since the last episode I've watched. I've been working my arse off, so I might be completely useless on this live stream today. I haven't seen anything lately.
This is the second show in a row I haven't seen either. So can't go. Although there was quite a funny meme going around because there's this absolute, if you're sort of even semi-permanently online, you'll have heard the name Chris Chan, who is just insane in every conceivable way. He's got a court case going on at the moment, and he is the least defensible client you can basically imagine. And so people have been putting Saul sort of as his defense attorney and just trying to come up with the lines about how the hell you would defend this guy, which is the only exposure I've had this week to Better Call Saul. So
okay, I won't spoil it for anybody. This week's episode was the flash forward. It was basically.
So does that mean lots of cameos?
No, it's the flash forward black and white episodes. That's after he goes into hiding. So it was a full episode of that.
Oh, it's when he's working at the store, the coffee store.
Yeah, I think what they've done is they've had the pre-Breaking Bad stuff pretty much up until the half-season break. Then all the stuff went on with his girlfriend, and she fucked off without dying. Spoilers, sorry. Then I think this is kind of like the half-time entertainment between the first half and the second half of the season. So I think all the Breaking Bad stuff starts happening from this week. So that's going to be quite interesting to watch. Still so well written, acted. It's just great. Bob Odenkirk, it's fantastic. Yeah. So I think there's not all that many episodes left. So it's going to start getting really, really good from this week. So check it out, everybody.
It's made it really late, hasn't he, Bob? Because he's been
60.
in the business for a long time. Yeah, he's been in business for a long time, and he's getting success now in his later years. And God bless him, because he's a really good actor, really good writer as well. So there you go.
Okay, so let's see what's next. I don't think there's not been much worth watching on TV, or is it just me?
You're watching the wrong things, that's why. That's what I say. What's that?
Are you watching Pornhub?
yeah. That's my main channel. No, I've been watching a show called, and you guys probably haven't heard of it because it's a Korean show.
Rebecca
It's
Gold.
it's called The Extraordinary Attorney Woo. It's called, and it's very good. Even it's a chore reading the subtitles, but it's very sweet, and it's very entertaining.
Although you should watch Rebecca Gold, it's very good.
There you go. See,
yeah, everybody in the
Endorsed.
chat, check out Rebecca Gold. I think we mention it every week, but I'll put the link in the description again.
Yes, and I watched it, and I'm giving it a thumbs up. It's really good. I enjoyed it.
There you go.
Look at this. There you go. Time Profit. I watched Bad Day, and I have learnt you can fire guns in London without the police showing.
You said that on Twitter, but
Yeah.
but in my defense, all I'm saying is it's a genre piece, and that's what happens in those kind of genres. A lot of people fire guns, and police turn up late.
There are places in London. I think the average call time has gone up for ambulances, even in parts of London. The average call time has gone up to almost 50 minutes. I think it is. So you probably could, in some parts of London, get away with shooting a gun, and the police would not turn up on the scene for a good long time. And even when they did turn up, they'd basically say, "Well, we can't do anything about that now because someone just posted a mean tweet about the pride flag, so we've got to go and arrest them instead."
Yeah, they're too busy arresting people who have caused distress to online Facebook people. Battlestar Galactica.
Is it coming back?
No, I know this is quite old, but I've been watching lots of clips of this on YouTube this week. YouTube, yeah. There is a Battlestar Galactica official channel.
They are supposed to be working on a not quite a reboot, but they are supposed to be bringing it back in the same universe, but not telling the same story. I think.
Yeah, I
don't know what the progress with that is.
Yeah, we've not heard anything.
They did have a spin-off, didn't they? And it didn't do very well.
They did. Was it Blood
Caprica?
I think it was.
That was it.
Caprica was the big TV.
That was more of a prequel, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was to do with the rise, the Cylons getting their sentient independence moment.
Yeah.
There were good bits about Caprica. It just, I think, by virtue of it lacking that really, really strong central story and sort of the space opera style of it, it just didn't really capture anyone's attention in the same way. I love the remake for Battlestar Galactica or the reimagined one up until like season 3 or the middle of season 3 when it becomes a little bit too heavy-handed War on Terror analogy. And then there's one of those ones that was brought to this catastrophically premature end because of the writer's strike. So season 4 did not pan out in the way they wanted it to because they had to stop production and then fast track the rest of it. And that's why you get that weird ending with several people coming back.
Was it fast tracked then? I thought he just wanted to get out of Dodge after 4. Oh, okay. I didn't know.
I think they were writing for when the writer's strike occurred, and then they had minimal. I think this is true. They had minimal time to get the script finished after the writer's strike ended, and so they just had to sort of do a cut and run job, really. Which is why season 4 just doesn't hang together at all in the same way as.
It felt a little bit weird, didn't it?
It did. I hate the ending of that show. I do not like it.
So you know what? Right? You can always feel when people are being genuine when they're writing a TV show and everything. Like I haven't seen Battlestar Galactica, but I know a lot of people that love it, and they say the first, as they say, just like you, Lord Cord, they say the first 3 seasons are good. Yeah, and then the rest of it. But I think people can sense it. Really, they can feel it when the writing is bad, and even though they can't put their finger on it, why they didn't like it as much as the previous season.
Yeah,
you know, it's the writing and it's the people behind it that really don't care. You know, that's the thing. So
here you go, Franco. I stopped watching the new BSG halfway through season 3.
A lot of people did because that was, I'm trying to think exactly what year that came out, but that was around 2000 and I think 3-4. And so as soon as they land on the planet, because they think they can't find Cobalt, so they find another habitable planet and they land there, and it becomes an extended War on Terror metaphor. And it's sometimes it's quite cleverly done, but they keep it going for the entirety of the season, up to the point where you think, well, I have got the point you're trying to get at here. This is not really what we're watching Battlestar Galactica for, and you've also run out of ideas for what to do with it. So I quite like the premise of that season. It was just that they strung it out for far, far too long. And a lot of people, I think, did start to switch off at that point.
I think the Americans, when they've got a huge hit, they don't want to let it go. They don't want it to die or stop at the right place. And I think that's what happened with Battlestar Galactica.
MC BSG is great.
It is great. It's very good.
The only thing I've seen clips from the new Battlestar Galactica, or shall I say old or new, it depends where you come from, and I missed the rivets. Do you remember in the original Battlestar Galactica, you have rivets rivets in the ship, little balls,
the old kind of deck plate,
that linked the ship together.
Still looks great. The original still looks great, even now.
Yeah, whatever. I just thought it was a bit weird. But
they do an episode of the reimagining one where they find an old Cylon faction, which is the Cylons from the original one. So they use the same designs for the Cylons themselves and for the fighters as
ships,
well.
I
can't remember if
do
that was
like the silence. I remember being totally against Battlestar Galactica because I was a huge Star Wars fan, and a lot of my friends were going, it's just a rip-off of Star Wars. And I remember watching episodes thinking, yeah, it is a rip-off of Star Wars, the Cylons are the stormtroopers and blah, blah, blah. And it very much started off as a rip-off of Star Wars, but then it became its own thing, I guess, like the Orville, really. So yeah, kudos to it, I guess.
So going back to my original point, as I said, I've been watching clips of this on YouTube, and it's just reminded me just how good this was.
You haven't seen it, though?
Yeah, I've seen Battlestar Galactica when it was on originally.
Oh, the original one.
Both of them. But as I said, I've been just kind of dipping in with the scenes, what the channel puts on YouTube, and it is good. And if you're in the UK, it is on the BBC iPlayer, so you can watch it for free. And I think in the US, it's on Peacock, and I think they stream it for free anyway. So
I've got it all on DVD somewhere over there, I think.
Yeah, I've got DVD. Well, yeah,
it's an example of really, really solid world building and pretty solid characters and characterizations and some really good performances. I mean, Edward James Olmos as Adama is fantastic.
Yeah.
And at times you can say, well, yeah, it's a little bit too macho. It's a little bit too overtly sort of American Marine type behavior. But that's the color of the thing. It does redeem itself by having that real depth and strength of storyline, certainly for the first 2 seasons. They really write it carefully, and none of it really falls apart plot wise. From what I remember of it, anyway, I'd have to rewatch it to sort of save it. It's just one of those things it's solidly written. It doesn't even have to be exceptional to be so much better than most things that we get today are. Just because it has a basic, idea of and fidelity to good storytelling, basic things like good characterization, plots that actually progress from A to B to C, not too many Deus Ex Machina type moments. It's a really good series, and the soundtrack, Bear McCreary did it, and
the music's fantastic.
Yeah, they had no budget for it because they'd spent so much on effects and on the cast as well, and so he was told when he was brought on board, he said, "Look, we've basically got a couple of pennies for you to do this with, so do your best." And he panicked for a while, and then he comes along this weird but really effective mix that you don't really see in any other kind of TV show. I mean, the opening theme is I think it's a repurposed Hindu chant. But then the instrumentation is largely drums, and then they use a duduk, which is a Middle Eastern, I think sort of North African type wind instrument. I actually bought one because I love the soundtrack so much and learned to play it. And it's this really unique sound. Sometimes he lets himself down. It gets this really corny kind of bagpipe music for sentimental scenes. But for the most part, again, what you can do on a budget is remarkable. You can really set yourself apart from your peers if you're just clever about how you use your resources and you don't just spunk money at everything.
Yeah, no, that like back of my hand.
I would say the only, as I said, I was watching the clips. The only thing, the shaky cam, which was very kind of the time, even with the space shots, lots of shaky cam and instant zoom stuff, it can get a little bit tiring.
They did that. I did that in Star Trek, didn't they? The JJ one a lot. I actually thought it was thought it was quite good, actually, the way they did it in Star Trek. I think they were the first ones to do it. I don't know if you noticed that. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
Obviously the CGI does look a little bit dated, but at the time we thought it was good. So check it out, everybody. It's a classic for a reason.
Yeah, can I just add something real quick in there? It's kind of on topic, but there was a show called Portlandia, and they did this episode where it was a comedy show, but they found one of the writers, and I'm putting that in quotations of the show, but it was just a guy that had the same name as one of the writers. So they got 2 of the actors, the guy that played Baltar, the doctor, and then the main captain guy, that Edward James guy. And and then they it's pretty funny if you get a chance to check it out. Sorry I brought it up.
No.
But it's a very good episode, and it made me laugh a lot. And
the only reason Battlestar Galactica, the reimagined version, came to be was because is it Ron Moore who did it, and he was on the team
Ronald
that
D.
did. I know he did a lot of Deep Space Nine, but it was Voyager, and I think he originally pitched the idea for Voyager that Voyager would be much darker. It would have this subplot where you'd have sort of infiltration of the ship,
Year
Marching
of
the Man of
Hell.
the Silence, and he was told that he couldn't do that. That shouldn't be the premise
Yeah,
for
Year
Star
of
Trek
Hell.
because it was too dystopian. And so he went away and did Battlestar Galactica instead. So I think it's sort of Voyager's loss was definitely the rest of us's gain, really. There.
Yeah, I think the Year of Hell as a full season of Star Trek Voyager would have been excellent. We'll leave the last word to JT. The camera work was kind of unique at the time.
For sure.
Okay, so
For
let's
sure, for
see what
sure.
we've got next.
Oh God! Isn't that the girl that took her shirt off in the football match today?
Oh,
Ran
yes,
around
please.
with her
I'd watch that.
bra, with her sports bra and stuff. Scored the goal.
There is lots of news stuff. So what I'll do, we'll put each page up and we'll kind of decide if we want to talk about it because there is some kind of a risque subjects because there's been a lot going on in certain circles this week. Did anybody see this? Can you believe this is a thing? Cockroach milk is the late.
It's supposed to be richer in protein than cow's
Three
milk.
times.
Inconvenient lack of tits on a cockroach. Though, so it's kind of hard to get it.
Yeah, apparently very, very difficult to milk, apparently.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, I think you just no. Stop trying to get us to eat the bugs. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't understand that whole concept. Why is everybody trying to make us eat like moths and shit? I don't want that. I don't want any of that.
It's a great untapped protein source. That's what it is.
I'd rather just eat a steak.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's to do with the amount of water involved and energy.
Well, I say that those things
Put
are
your
going to be
steak on a plate.
when the world ends. Cockroaches are going to be the only thing that's left.
Yeah. Well, when the world ends, I'll worry about it then. Right now, I live in circa now, and the world's just fine. Like, oh, it's so weird. I don't understand.
Well, CNN, isn't it? They're reporting it. So,
well, I want to see them eat cockroaches for a year, and then I'll try it. How about that?
No,
I think CNN's rule is that they employ cockroaches as opposed to.
Yeah, I thought it was like an April Fool's or a piss take. So I thought, right, okay, I'm gonna have a look, and it is genuine. Yes, not commercially viable.
Yeah, what a surprise there.
They'll genetically engineer them and make them bigger, and then they'll prove that Jurassic World Dominion wasn't a shit film. It was just really, really prescient.
Like a 50s B movie, yeah. Time Prophet, not eating the bugs. Not yet, you're not, mate.
That stuff.
Don't do it. I think
Don't
I'd
wanna
rather
be eating
starve
that
to
stuff.
death. I think I just would rather starve.
Who's this?
Okay, so this week in, a couple of days ago in Albuquerque, where they film Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, they've presented the town, the community, with two large bronze statues of Bryan Cranston and what's the other guy's name? Jesse Pinkman.
Oh, who cares?
Yeah, so now they are now statues in Albuquerque. The characters from Breaking Bad. So
that's nice of them. Nice for them, isn't it? But here's hoping
that was going on.
Here's hoping they keep it up because remember they got rid of the Sylvester Stallone statue, didn't they?
Oh, did they?
Yeah, the one in Philadelphia. They got rid of that.
Do you really want this? A statue of two fake
characters
in your town? It's so weird.
Yeah. But I mean, good on them. They're basically put a statue up saying that that they really enjoyed the show and the show made their town or city, whatever it is, what it is, put it on the map. Good for them. But I think I'm with Matt here. I think it's pointless. But anyway, if it serves the town well, that's good, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. But
community, yeah.
Did anybody see the fan financed RoboCop statue for Detroit? That was quite good.
No.
Yeah, there's actually a statue now in Detroit of RoboCop.
See, I live in Michigan. That's Detroit is in Michigan.
It is Detroit, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Delta City, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand. Why would anybody want that? Like, don't get me wrong, I love RoboCop, but I wouldn't if
He's an American hero, isn't he?
It's so weird. Okay, whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
It's just one of those unique quirks of American culture. Thomas Jefferson, no. George Washington, no. Abraham Lincoln, no.
Right.
RoboCop, fuck yeah.
But it makes sense,
yes.
doesn't it? Because when I mean, it started off with voting a Hollywood actor to be president, right? So that's where it all started
Ronald,
from, and then and then suddenly Arnold Schwarzenegger is mayor of whether it's LA or wherever it was, but what he became, and do you know what I mean? It's all about it's become about the way that what the person looks like, and now these days it's all about how many likes they've got, I guess, or how many followers they've got now. So it's got nothing to do with what they can do for you or what talent they've got. It's all about the media now, isn't it? It's all about the looks and the media. It's gone completely backwards, actually. Weird.
Not Brian says, can't wait for the Rabsy Nesbitt statue in Glasgow. Yeah. And just to bring us all down to earth, the mighty Stephen Amore in the chat. We have a statue of Anne in London, otherwise known as Gandhi.
Fun fact about Gandhi: he used to sleep with his young cousin to test his ability to resist erections.
Really?
Yep. All the things you don't know about Gandhi. He also wrote a letter to Hitler, which wasn't exactly condemnatory. He suggested the Jews should probably have gone quietly into the ovens. He was happy to let the Japanese army do his fighting for him against the British in India. He was pretty much a Hindu nationalist and quite a fundamentalist, without whom you might have had a more peaceful partition between India and Pakistan. And he was very, very mean to the untouched, the lowest caste in India. So yeah, Saint Gandhi. But I'm with George Orwell. All saints should be judged guilty until proven innocent. I think that applies to Gandhi as well.
As I said, I don't know whether I want to believe all that stuff. But,
I was going to say, the channel's finished either. It's gone. It's been nice knowing you, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, moving on then. I think this is going to get worse as the news goes. Oh, this is going to be bad. Yes, not Brian. Killed. Norwegian blue, mate. Norwegian blue. Okay. This was the big thing this week in Blighty. A ex-serving military person was arrested for upsetting somebody on Facebook. Isn't that correct, Lord?
Yeah, so there was the meme going around because if you put the new updated super special awesome pride flag up, the one with the trans chevron, and you just put 4 of them and you angle them, it turns it into a swastika, which is very funny. And someone posted that, and then the police turned up at the guy's house and arrested him. And I don't know if this is the same guy, but I know Harry Miller was arrested for the same thing. And Harry Miller is the ex-police officer.
There were 2 arrested.
He founded the thing called Fair Cop, which is designed, its sole purpose is to highlight these incidents and combat them. And he was the one who won the subsequent change to the law and the Royal College of Policing guidance. And so they really, really picked on the wrong guy here, because he has not given them a good time, to the point where the chief constable of, it's Hertfordshire Police, isn't it? Has apparently lost his shit with the officers involved. But Harry Miller is saying he wants the entire organization basically revolutionized, get rid of the entire top management, because it's not just police officers who are doing this. But he said, I want to see a copy of the guidance. I want you to give me this particular part of the law because I know it says that you're not allowed to do this. And they just said no. And it's the problem with the police is that you've had about a decade of recruitment along the lines of social justice activism as opposed to enforcing laws, to the point where police on their own volition will turn up and do this kind of stuff. So it doesn't require the chief constable to direct it. These officers are on the hunt for this kind of thing, as opposed to solving, actual crime.
Hold on. So is this the law then, that you can't say anything on Twitter that makes sense and you'll get arrested for it?
Yes.
Well, it was the law, and then it wasn't the law because the guidance was changed after Harry Miller campaigned against it. The police haven't caught up with the change in guidance. However, Nadine Dorry is the current culture secretary. God, she's trying to push through the online harms bill, which will make it illegal again, because she wants to ban what she calls illegal but harmful content online, in which case this becomes so much worse.
Got to be careful, yes. Time Prophet.
Sorry, hold on. So is she conservative or Labour or what?
She's conservative. She's my local MP actually. She's famously bad on free speech. I was working at a local paper once, and we were always told do not go anywhere near her because she once threatened to nail a journalist's balls to the floor, for example. I've met some journalists I'd like to see that happen to, but it was not mine. No. I'm not going in. My balls are going nowhere near Nadine Dorries. But no, she's a conservative. She's currently the culture minister. She was backing Boris Johnson. She's kind of insanely big on Boris Johnson to the point of like creepiness, and she's also backing Liz Truss for prime minister, so she's probably banking on the job in the next government as well. But the online harms bill is the thing she's pushing through, which vastly expands the interests of government in censoring speech or persuading social media companies to censor this kind of speech. So at the moment you're allowed to do this unless the police think you're not, whereas in future you might not be allowed to do it at all, and the police will be allowed to do this.
But what you call it? That's frightening, though. I mean, all jokes aside, that's incredibly frightening. And if they push this, if people vote for these people to push this law forward, then they've only got themselves to blame when they can't speak out. This is absolutely horrifying that this is going to be turned into a law.
It's the Nazi brown shirts. They come and arrest you, knock on the door, poof, you're off.
So you can't say anything that makes sense on Twitter.
That does seem to be the thing they want to go for, except that, well, legally you are allowed to do this. That's the problem. The police were in the wrong here, and they've been found to be in the wrong here. But the fact they did turn, you can still be arrested for it. It's just you then have to fight against the police afterwards, which is that puts a lot of burden on you, the person being arrested, to prove that you're innocent, as opposed to the presumption of innocence sort of abiding.
I think I'll just step back now and let the world deal with this crap seriously, because it really is very frightening that these people are pushing this stuff into the world and making it law. And that if they make it law, that means free speech is gone. And a lot of people don't realize that.
It's gone already, mate.
The only encouraging thing is because there's a conservative leadership contest on at the moment, a lot of people who are in government while this was being drawn up have come out and said, we weren't allowed to say this while we were in government, but now we're not. We can say this is utterly shit legislation and she should be ashamed of herself. So it might be the case that it's either watered down or is scrapped, but it's kind of watch this space, really, which is not an enviable position to be in.
Melvin, the laws are too vague. The wording lets the cops decide what's a crime on the fly. Someone was arrested in Scotland for calling a Scottish MP a... What a way to prove the guy right. It's probably a good job that Brian didn't come on here tonight, because there's some stuff that we're discussing that you can get arrested for in Scotland. Can you believe it?
No, that's so weird.
Who said free speech? There you go.
It hasn't gone that bad yet, has it? So it's going to get even worse if people allow this kind of crap to enter into the law.
Did Ben? Did you see the full video of this?
I don't know if I saw the whole thing. I probably saw about half of it.
You know the female police officer who turned up, the one on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice how she had the attitude, proper full-on attitude? Did you notice that, or was that just me?
I didn't. I can't say I paid that much attention to the video, I'm afraid, so I didn't spot it. But I wouldn't be surprised.
She had full-on attitude. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So it'll be interesting to see where this is going to go. Right. This week's JK news.
It's her birthday.
You've been on Twitter again, haven't you, Ian? I mean, all this crap comes from Twitter. What is wrong with you? Seriously. Do I want to talk about this lady? Why?
JK's birthday today, so I just thought we'd say happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I love
You know what? She's quite attractive, actually.
She is.
She's not bad for 58, is it?
I'd smash her.
What with?
I love J.K. Rowling, so I have nothing bad to say about her.
Everybody's still picking on her, though, aren't they?
That's because they're idiots. That's because they're idiots.
They are. She'll get this until she dies, and when she does die, they'll bring it up then too, and say she deserved to die and everything.
How can you have a celebration of Harry Potter and not invite her? It's absolutely ludicrous.
Because the three main actors were all like, I won't do anything that she's not involved in, even though she made their lives.
Well, did you see, because after the success of Harry Potter, Quidditch has become an actual it's become a real life sport.
Yeah.
And the official Quidditch League has now changed its name from Quidditch because it doesn't want to endorse J.K. Rowling, who
Oh,
invented
God.
Quidditch. Fuck's sake.
That's what I'm saying. If this crap becomes law and all this stupid way of thinking becomes law, we're all in trouble. Well, hopefully I'll be dead before it comes to law. But yeah, there you go.
That's a cheerful thought.
No, but as I said, all jokes aside, it's a frightening thought.
Yes,
Mhm.
it is.
It really is very frightening. You'd think that the world will learn from its past mistakes, but unfortunately not.
Mephisto hello Mephisto. Problem is the stuff that happens on social media is bleeding through into the real world.
Yeah.
It's hemorrhaging, mate. Yes.
You
It's
know
the
what,
old,
right? Sometimes I think China and Japan's got it right. They ban, Facebook, and they have their own versions because
Yeah.
seriously, the crap that's coming out of social media and pitting. I mean, the girls won the what is it the match today, and they're going to use that against
they are.
men and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And Korea and China's like, screw that. We're not having any of that crap in our in our society. So they've got their own stuff. Maybe England should. I don't know if you've got someone in charge. I guess
I was
ban all this
I was
crap.
thinking, isn't the term lionesses, isn't that now problematic?
Who cares?
Someone did on Twitter say, no, sod the lionesses. They are the lions. Oh, God. Not as good as the one who said, though, that the lionesses have beat the lioness. That was much funnier. I'm all for that.
I mean, congratulations to them. They did a really good job.
Yeah,
I
they did a
never
good
saw the
job,
match.
yes.
I was like,
They
I
did a good
really hate football, but I never watched it. My brother watched it. He thought it was good, and congratulations to them. But it's going to be used. It's going to be weaponized, don't you?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
already is.
Yeah. So there you go.
Melvin, these social justice warriors are mental. They're not against hate. They just want you to hate the same things they hate. Otherwise, they hate you. It's genuine insanity. It's, yeah,
See, the thing
communism.
is, right. The thing
Communism,
is,
man.
right. You've got all these people on YouTube. You've got Lost Chord, and as slagging off TV shows that are basically woke, and you got Gary doing the same thing, and there's thousands following Gary and whoever is in the Phantom Menace. But once these people make stuff law, all of this will be for nothing. All of you arguing and trying to tell the normal person that all this stuff is bad, it'll be all for nothing. So,
Unless if the populace wake up, but are they going to? I don't know.
The thing is, though, what is it? Media rules the roost, and they're aiming it at the normies, and the normies will believe anything that's in. That's what I'm saying. That's their power.
Yeah.
And I think if people like Gary and stuff that wants to change things, they have to think differently. They can't just keep going to cons, and because that's not going to help. Someone's got to get into the nitty gritty of what's going on and get into that circle. But anyway, whatever.
Mephisto, the BBC had an issue with them calling them the lionesses. There you go.
Fuck off. Seriously.
Oh, did the lionesses not give their pronouns before they were recorded?
Yeah, the Stephen Moray. Yeah, the lionesses have no problem calling themselves lionesses.
Yeah, yeah.
So there you go. So happy birthday, JK.
There was just quickly on that last one as well. That there was famously the BBC decided that because there weren't any black players in the England starting 11, this was a problem, and I cannot help but think there's going to be a huge crossover in the people who believe that is a problem and who will then go away from the cinema in about a month's time saying, "Oh yeah, Black Panther was brilliant." There's going to be equivalent diversity in that film, I'd suggest. So
where are the honkies? There is a token honky in that film, Martin Freeman.
Oh, Bilbo's in it, yes.
Yeah, Bilbo. Yeah.
Okay, so kind of roughly connected with JK. Sharon Davis is close to bankruptcy.
Why?
I don't know who she is, but I think
the
just famous swimmer.
Yeah, because she has the same opinion as JK that.
Why is she close to bankruptcy?
Defending herself from these idiots who were just taking her to task for her saying that a biological woman is a woman, and they shouldn't. Women that are trans shouldn't go into women's sports. and she's a very big voice with all this. And basically, the woke brigade are just taking her to task.
Why is why is she bankrupt though? I don't understand. I mean, she's made a lot of money. What's she done with her money?
I don't know. Maybe court cases. I don't know.
I
I
would guess she's just not being given the kind of media
It's the
gig she
work.
wants to
Yeah,
be
it's
given.
the work.
Because
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Look, if you were going bankrupt, would you actually tell the media that you were going back? Would you put something on Twitter and say it? No, you wouldn't, would you? You just kind of try and fight against it your own way, and you'll keep quiet, won't you? I mean, maybe this is just, I don't know. I just give up, really. Seriously, it's all bollocks. Most of it's bollocks. That's one good reason not to be famous in today's world. You know, if I ever make it as a director, I'll direct my film and fuck off, basically. That's what I would do. I wouldn't do any, going around
Promotion.
hotels, and wouldn't do any of that stuff. I just basically direct and move on. So, as said, being famous today, you know, if you're not playing the tune, then they're going to destroy
They'll
you.
have these streams, Ian. They'll have these streams.
Mephisto. It's
They will, won't they?
It's Stonewall. They are a very powerful trans lobby.
although that's collapsing in on itself and not before time.
Yes.
Given that a lot of the legal cases they've been sponsoring, they have lost, and they're losing an awful lot of public support, and government money is finally starting to go away from them. And they keep putting their foot in it, like publishing articles saying 2-year-olds know their actual gender identity, and then having to post subsequent tweets saying, when we said 2-year-olds know their gender identity, we didn't really mean that. We were just amplifying someone else who said that. That's all we were doing, honestly, guys.
It was metaphorically.
Metaphorically.
Stephen Moray, eating disorders have almost disappeared amongst teenage girls. It has been replaced by the claims of identity.
That's so true. That's so true.
This is turning into that stupid sketch on Two Ronnies, The Worm Turned. Have none of you ever watched that?
Never
you ever see that sketch? Well, obviously you're American, but
yeah, I was gonna say that's got to be a British thing.
But you ever see the Two Ronnies, where they had that sketch every week about how women took over the world and all men were doing all the women's jobs? You ever see it? No one? No one. Okay,
probably, but I can't remember it.
All right.
Look
it up on YouTube.
I will do. Being is an ideology and is dangerous.
It's very
dangerous. It's not in and of itself. Being trans is not an ideology. I mean, there are genuine people with gender dysphoria, and there are genuine transgender people. I would go so far as to say they are probably the majority who are silent on all this stuff and don't particularly like the attention. They just kind of want, roughly speaking, what the old gay rights lobby argued for, which is the right to live your own life in privacy and not making crazy demands about being able to transition at the age of 5 or have entry to women's only spaces or women's only sports, which affect a tiny minority of actual trans people. There are trans people who don't buy. I think I would say probably the slight majority of them do not buy into the ideological aspects of this. If you really want the ideological aspects of it, it's the Q part of the LGBTQ thing, and that's where all of the political identity-based movements come from. That's what the ideology is, and it's morphed into sort of. It's like the Borg. It's basically assimilated the entire LGBT movement, but there's the majority of LGB and T people do not want anything to do with this kind of thing.
Yeah, they're against it, yes.
Small number of very, very political, ideological activists, and they can get fucked, frankly.
Not Brian. Yeah, he saw it, Mega Geek.
Yay, Two Ronnies.
Two Ronnies. Two Ronnies. Excellent. Yeah.
Okay, so shall we move on from this? Let's just remove Brian.
Who's this?
Our favourite. She's not going to win.
Ian, seriously, I don't want to be looking at this stuff. Yeah. Have you got anything fun to talk about?
Bear with me. We have, yes. Don't worry.
News round is just the trans round, apparently.
This is rubbish. I don't care about this guy. I really don't.
But people need to know about this stuff.
Well, they're not
I
going to
mean-
learn from this stream, are they? Only
Well-
like 4 people watch this stream, for God's sakes. You know, just
Oh, that's
17
not fair. 18.
17,000 at the moment. Okay.
It's good.
Anyway,
The only thing to say about this is that you can use it as evidence that maybe the direction is starting to shift, because they were in
It's
the running
not.
to be Women of the Year, which is of course absurd, and enough people have woken up and been confident enough to say this is absurd that they've now excluded the person from.
somebody in the tweet
race.
said, first time she's been beaten by a real woman. Stephen Moray. Oh, look, 5 o'clock shadow. Okay. There is some Stonewall stuff coming up, so we'll just briefly mention it, and then we'll just kind of skip through it. So
This was good news. This was very good news.
Yeah.
Tavistock, that there are, I think, 2 gender identity clinics that are going to emerge out of this. But Tavistock and the Gender Identity Clinic, and Tavistock was the sole point of entry, and it was doing some very, very questionable things to very young children. As far as puberty blockers go, it's now been shut down because someone has finally got around to looking at its safety record and determined that it's not in fact safe to prescribe puberty blockers to children, and so it's closing. That's the good news. The bad news is that they are going to quietly open
Regional.
2 new centres, which will carry on some of the work of the Tavistock Centre, but at least this one has been closed down. And it dovetails with some news out of the United States, where I think the FDA has just come out and said that a lot of puberty blockers, which have no track record or safety tests at all anyway,
never been tested.
are
Yes.
showing some pretty negative health consequences for people who use them. So it's probably not wise to give them to people who are under 18. So Tavistock closing, the FDA finally paying attention, is 2, I think, pieces of good news. if you
Yes,
wanted
I
to
read an
get that.
article about that. It said something about how it affects your brain or something like that. I can't
But
remember.
hold on, you're not allowed to subscribe medicine unless it goes past the FDA or whatever the organization is in America and in England. So why isn't anyone arrested for this stuff? Why wasn't anyone behind bars?
Because it's
Don't know, mate.
fashionable. It's fashionable.
No, but that
Yes.
doesn't make any sense. That's not the law.
Well, you
They
know
don't want to
this
upset
doesn't
The
make
law
minority.
didn't prohibit. The
Don't-
law didn't prohibit
Yeah.
it. So the sort of the minor scandal is that a lot of these hormone blockers, I mean, they have other uses as well. So it's not just that they are only used for the case of transitioning, but puberty blockers and hormone blockers generally have other medical uses, and the drugs have been cleared for those other medical uses. And the FDA just didn't pay attention when they started to be expanded onto gender reassignment surgeries as well. So it was never illegal to do it, which is kind of a problem in its own right. But the FDA has just now got around to saying maybe this use that these things we thought were safe for being put to is not safe in this specific context.
But that's not good enough. They should make it law that you shouldn't use that crap on little children.
Yeah. I think a couple of
18s.
the Tory leadership candidates said that they would make it illegal to prescribe these to under 18s. I think, which would again be a step forward.
If I've got to look into the Conservatives, I'd rather vote for the Conservatives. I've never voted in my life to get rid of all this crap. Seriously, if Labour gets in and they start doing all this rubbish, then we're all in trouble.
This is me, ex-Labour. I would never vote Labour.
Yeah,
Ever
same
again.
here. Well,
Stephen
I've never
Moray.
voted anyway.
Yeah, Stephen Moray, Tavistock were giving medicines and ordering surgery after one interview. Can you believe it? Life-changing surgery after one interview. It's
The
just
justification given as well was that trans people have a disproportionately high suicidality rate, and so they, under the essentially Stonewall guidance, basically said that's because they're trans. There's a really obvious way of proving whether that's true. You go back to them a few years after they transitioned and find out whether or not they still have a disproportionately high rate of suicide. They still do. It doesn't actually change. In fact, the evidence, I think, is that most mental health problems with trans people emerge years after they've transitioned. So the argument they used to use, which was that this was necessary to save lives, hasn't saved lives. It's destroyed quite a few lives, and it's not being put to the uses they said it was being put to. People are slowly, I think, starting to wake up to this and increasingly confidently speak out about it. But there's still a lot of fighting to do, I think.
Yeah, there's a long way to go on this. Okay, so next.
No.
This is going back to the Stonewall.
Oh God, can we not get off this subject?
Yeah.
This is depressing.
Yeah, I think we've
Ben
covered
has
this one.
previously mentioned this, saying that 2-year-olds are aware of their identity.
Yeah,
No,
they
they're not.
subsequently put out a tweet saying we didn't mean it.
I think I replied to this. Kids of 2 years old go gurgle, gurgle, burp, burp, fart, fart.
Yeah.
I thought I was a kestrel when I was that age, so apparently I should be allowed to swap species appropriately, though, because apparently the Anglo-Saxon meaning for kestrel is wind fucker, and that's actually kind of true to my innate self.
Okay, so
Another one. I think we should probably just fast forward through some.
Okay.
This is an
this is
important
just
case,
depressing.
but we have sort of covered the
Swap
grounds
Shop
of it, I think.
posted that. There you go, folks. Have a look at it. What a load of
What's
rubbish.
It's just depressing. Look, seriously, I have a lot of gay friends, right? And majority of them think all of this is absolutely
They do.
frightening. They think it's frightening, all of it. So it's, and also the I hate to say this, the media is pushing this big time, and it's kids are getting influenced by this nonsense. I'm just so sad for the next generation.
I feel sorry for the. I just feel so sorry for these young kids because we didn't have any of this when we were growing up.
Yeah,
absolutely none of this, and this is serious shit. And they're just getting away with it.
Also, right, as a filmmaker, there's loads of festivals out there that you can put your stuff in, and I'm beginning to realize now that majority of festivals, they want stuff that speaks to today's generation, meaning that they want to promote stuff that is the agenda, basically. So it's just, as I said, it's getting quite frightening now.
You see the same thing in book publishing as well. Like a number of publishers, including big ones like Penguin, Random House, announced, I think it was a year or two ago, that they were going to stop judging manuscripts by merit and prioritize people from diverse backgrounds. And then a published author, who I think is herself, a woman and B, a minority, said that I'm concerned that the way things are going now means it's impossible for white men in particular to have their books published, no matter how good they are, because this is the way the industry is currently operating. And she tweeted this out and then was bombarded by people who say, it doesn't matter how good the book is, you're just a fascist, you just want to silence black voices. It's about time that we had fewer straight white men writing books. So, okay, well, there goes Tolstoy and Dostoevsky and all the great Shakespeare, like all the great writers of the English canon for the most part, which is not to say that you can't be a great writer if you're black, because of course you can. It's just that, black people can succeed in literature just as well as white people can. Same thing in film. You don't need affirmative action quotas. It's patronizing to suggest that you do, and you will lose something when you start excluding white men from writing or from filmmaking, because you're just precluding people on the basis of race and sexuality and ethnicity, as opposed to whether they're producing something that's any good. And is modern media really any better for all of these quotas they've introduced?
No, and also they should create a forum where people of race and different colors can create their own legacies, their own TV shows, based on whatever they want to be based on, instead of actually going around and stealing stuff and changing it, because it's far more easier to destroy it.
Why would you go to the trouble of making a really, really well-written, good new gay character when you can just say, right, well, we'll spin the roulette wheel. Who's it landing on this time? Oh, it's Superman, right? He's gay now.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It makes, but the thing is, though, what they're really saying is that gay people are not good enough to have an original character. That's what they're saying. And I'd just like to say I created Rebecca Gold and she's gay, so that's an original character. So there you go.
Mephisto, I understand that you may find this depressing, but it's also is in our entertainment.
True.
It is, yes.
Time Profit, they have taken Shakespeare out of universities now.
They have. It's part of the they call it the decolonize the curriculum movement, and so you get campaigns to decolonize. I think it started in the humanities. Well, these shit movements always start in the humanities. I think it really kicked off with English literature courses, and they started trying to say, well, we shouldn't be studying the greats of history because that marginalizes black people, because black people, of course, can't identify with Shakespeare. So we need to get rid of those. I know. It's just insanely patronizing, but that's the mentality these people have.
I have a friend, a black friend. I've known him for years. His name's Anthony, and he's dying to do Shakespeare. He's part of the rep, and he works his ass off to try and get to that point where he can do Shakespeare. And this guy's black. He understands Shakespeare. It's ridiculous.
The really funny one, though, is the decolonized science movement, because that basically says that that you should stop prioritizing white-centric manners of thinking like maths in science, in order to admit what they call alternative ways of knowing, and that includes like ancient Native American ways of knowing, because of course you can fly to the moon if you believe in sort of animal spirits and stuff. They're really, really good for science. So we should decolonize the sciences, and that is how we make progress as
Well,
society.
the only reason why they're doing that is because they want to destroy the whole fact thing.
Burning books.
It all goes down to what is a woman. That's all it goes down to. They want to destroy the fact that men and
Burning
women
books,
are,
mate.
biologically men and women. They want to destroy that fact. That's what they want to do. That's
Going
why they're
back-
after science. Yeah, that's why they're
Yeah.
after science. So there you go. Anyway.
Time Profit, we are 84% white in Britain, and television is not reflecting that.
But
I kind of agree.
Anne
So
Boleyn
I
was
kind of
black.
agree. No, but the thing is, I think that's good that there was more color on TV. I think it's good. It's a good thing. But the way they're doing it is wrong. That's all I
It
can
is?
say about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And if you really want to go into the reason, the ironic reason for that, the sort of the overabundance of diversity on TV actually reflects a lack of diversity in advertising rooms and in studios and in writers' rooms. Because if you go, most of these people live in cities. Most of them are at least middle class. Almost all of them are university educated.
Privileged.
They are metropolitan.
Privileged.
They are in
Let's
every
not
way
forget
privileged. But the point is, like, if you go and you go to London, for example, you will see a demographic spread which is roughly the same as the demographic spread you see on TV. It's surprising to them when they go, well, they don't even really account for the fact, but the fact the rest of the country does not reflect London's demographics, but all of these people come from
It's a shock
exactly
to
the
them,
same
isn't it?
academic and geographical background, means their idea of what the natural diversity rate in the country is just entirely skewed by the fact that they all come from the same background. If you started hiring writers from provinces, from towns, from villages, from like the suburbs of backwater states in the US, you would probably see a massive and very sudden shift in the type of stories you're getting and the type of characters you're seeing, and also in the racial makeup of people on screen, which would more accurately reflect the real country's demographic, as opposed to all these city-based metropolitans who think that everywhere in the country is at least 60% white, or at most, 60% white.
Geralt of Trivia, the woke ideology is completely racist. It is. It pays unhealthy amount of attention to skin color, sex, and sexuality. It is a sickness. Matty, I've asked you this before. As a parent, are you worried about all this?
Yeah. I worry about it all the time. I mean, like, I live in a state where that's not like hugely about this. I don't worry about it when my daughter goes to school and everything, but my son, he should be starting school, if not this year, then next year, because of pre-K and kindergarten and everything. But my kids, I don't know. I don't push anything on my kids, but my son tells me all the time he's a boy. Like, I'll be like, you're a silly goose. And he'll be like, I'm not a goose, I'm a boy. And I'll be like, you're right. You are a boy. Okay. And everything. So, it does worry me, just in the sense that I'm afraid that one day, I'll send my kid to school and then something will happen and I won't know about it, until 6 months from now. Because that has happened before, where parents have sent their kids to school and then all of a sudden they're transitioning and they didn't tell their parents and everything because they made some offhand comment or they, manipulated them in some way, shape, or form. And me, I just go, listen, and back to the whole 2-year-olds know their gender and everything. Listen, my son is 4. I sometimes I feel like he barely knows where his nose is, let alone what gender he is. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I'm like, all this kid cares about is Transformers and Ninja Turtles right now.
And
so
what's for dinner?
Yeah. So he's not worried about that stuff. And I think that adults that think that children are actually give a shit about any of this is just ridiculous.
In the chat, Franco, Christ, don't get me started with the bloody adverts. Everything is mixed race now. It is. Not Brian. I identified as C3PO until I was 8.
Yeah.
Z still identifies as C3PO.
He does.
Yeah.
If I was a parent myself, I would be genuinely worried, concerned.
Yeah. I had a conversation with my nieces, was it last week?
Yeah.
Over a pizza, and they asked me. I was reluctant to answer.
Was there pineapple on it?
No, we hate pineapple.
Okay.
But they did ask me the question, and I said to them, "Look, it doesn't really matter what I think. What I will suggest you do, because I don't really give advice. What I suggest you do is to look at both sides and then come to a conclusion. But don't only skim both sides. really dig deep and see what these things are about and then come to a conclusion. If you don't do that, then you're just going to be a sheep and follow people. You know, you really need to dig deep. So
what upsets
Yeah.
me is that they shouldn't have to be in that position
Oh,
because
absolutely.
it's not a concern to people of that age.
Right.
When you're over 18, that's when you start paying taxes and do adult things, that's when you should be worried. Why are these people just going about their business, making it, their business, other younger people's business about stuff that should not be a concern?
because they're grooming them, Ian. They're grooming
Yeah.
them. That's what they're doing. End of story. I mean, there's no grey area there. That's what that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and they just want to like my problem is just they're trying to do this whole alternative facts situation. Like for instance, I had a conversation. It was a little while ago with one of my nieces, and she was trying to tell me that bacon was not pork. And I was like, what are you talking about? It comes from a pig. Of course that's pork. And she's like, well, you believe what you want to believe, and I'll believe what I want to believe. And I'm like, yeah, but that's fact.
That's where
It comes
starts,
from
isn't it?
I was like, bacon doesn't come from any other animal except for I mean, maybe there's turkey bacon, but it's called turkey bacon. But I was like, bacon is from a pig, so therefore it's pork. I'm like, there's no alternative facts here. You have to. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I do have. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I was going to say there's two people who would know if it's called bacon. That is Rennie A and Matt G.
And bacon.
Yes, they're the experts on bacon. Matt G, where are you when we need you? So, shall we just move on from all that stuff? Because
depressing.
I don't think it's depressing. I think it's frightening.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah, that
It's not
brings on
depressing at all.
depression.
It's
Frightening brings on
it's
depression.
It's genuinely frightening.
It is frightening. I agree with you, Ian. It's just
Frightening
it's really
for young people.
It is, and thank God my nieces are not stupid. They kind of know. They kind of know what's going on. Especially my niece AD. She definitely knows what's going on. So cool on them.
Okay, so we know there's a war going on in Ukraine. Matt's country is piling billions.
Yeah, we're paying
billions of dollars. So this person and his wife can be shot.
This
not
was
that
annoying.
way. Photo shoot.
So I can see why. I can see why this is annoying to people. I think though some people have completely, well, I was going to say lost the plot. That's not what I was going for. I think some people have sort of lost touch of what a war is and what the entire Ukrainian media strategy is. People think, well, if you've got time to do a Vogue photo shoot, the war can't be as serious as you claim that it is. And sort of superficially, you can see where they're coming from because, you're supposed to be fighting on the front lines and all the rest of it. But if you go back to the 1940s, even the 1930s, but especially the 1940s, the vast majority of films that were put out by our own domestic film companies in this country were entirely propaganda pieces. So you had fantastically well written war films, many of which were overtly written to appeal to American audiences, to convince Americans that they really probably should join the side of freedom against the Nazis and involve themselves in the Second World War. There were some really specific ones because in America in the 1940s, you still had quite a lot of fealty to what is called Fenianism, which is the sort of the Irish Republican movement because you had such a huge Irish emigre population in the United States. There were entire films that our own country put out in that time, basically the equivalent of Hollywood films today, which were designed to overcome Fenian objections to America's involvement in the Second World War. I don't think anyone in their right mind would say, well, because the British did propaganda in the Second World War, that means that maybe we should suspect the Second World War was not a serious war or Hitler was not a serious threat or that we were not facing the real prospect of invasion. This is what propaganda is. Propaganda is not innately untrue. Propaganda is the peddling of information which is useful to your side. In the case of the Ukrainians subsist now on donations from America in particular, but to a lesser extent this country, and on public support in America and to a lesser extent in this country. If you're going to try and appeal to the population of those countries to get them to continue lending their support, what you need to do is to go to magazines like Vogue. You need to do photo shoots this. And I can see why some people think, well, we've got a lot of problems at home, and we don't have much money, and here they are doing the glitzy cover magazine shoots on Vogue. It might well be that this is a propaganda fail, but the reason they're doing it isn't that the war in Ukraine isn't serious. It's that this is a form of propaganda, and propaganda is an essential weapon of war just as much as tanks and bullets and bombs are. So it doesn't say anything either way about the severity of the war in Ukraine that Zelensky is on the cover of Vogue. It just is a question of whether it's effective propaganda or not.
Matty, are you going to donate to the cause?
I'll be honest with you, no. Listen, I'm poor as it is, so I mean, I listen. I'm not rooting for Putin or anything like that, but like Cord said, we've got so many problems here at home, and then when Zelensky says like stuff like, inflation, what does that matter? I'm all like, well, I understand what you're going through, but I got 2 kids to feed. I have to think of my home first, first and foremost. So I don't know. Like, this is the thing. Like I said, I'm not rooting for Putin, but it's so difficult right now. His wife is very hot, though. I just have to say that. She's very hot.
I genuinely think, I don't think this was this war was needed, especially after...
No war's needed.
I know. Especially after the coup, the world was just literally getting back on its feet, and this was, I think, Putin just came in with a hammer blow, didn't he?
Pretty much, yes. But then he was banking on the prior failings of particularly the Obama administration, which set a red line over Crimea, which Putin transgressed, and then nothing happened as a result of that. It was partly to show up domestic popularity in Russia that this was conducted. It's also because Russia has historical territorial claims over what it believes is its territory in Ukraine. There are all manner of reasons why this happened. It's in a large part the weakness of prior American administrations in not stopping it earlier on. But the question has to be, when it comes to all this kind of stuff, when you have record high inflation in the States and when people all across the Western world are really struggling for money, what is the end game of the West's involvement in Ukraine? What is the actual desired outcome? And is that desired outcome achievable? Are we just going to continue spending tens of billions of dollars, sending weapons to people, even after all those people are dead and they can't use them, for no conceivable end at all? Has our strategy, in fact, stopped the Russians or simply delayed them? And if it's only delaying them and we don't have an actual viable solution in mind, what exactly are we hoping to achieve by continuing to do this? I think that those are the difficult questions that particularly Americans, but less so, but still significantly in this country, have to ask. We do have to start asking, what is the end state here? When do we stop doing this? What are we doing this
we know
for?
why they're doing it, though. One is for money to create more shells and guns and crap like that. And 2 is to show the Americans that they're doing something. That's what I'm saying. Basically, the government is basically talking to the normies, people like us who can see beyond the crap, right? We're far and few between. Majority of people are normies. They'll suck all this stuff up. They'll believe exactly what they've been told. And so just by them doing this, it's like they're helping. But as you said, to what end? But the normies don't think about that. They just think, oh, they're helping. Yeah, God bless America. We're helping. But it's not gonna lead to anything, is it? Do you know?
We called it over a year ago on when Commander Culture was on here.
Yeah.
We called it that Biden would get his war. They would go looking for a war.
I mean, look at the
bolster the popularity of them in the US. And this is, I think I watched a stream this week. This is a war by proxy.
Look at the time when we had the war and Blair was in charge, and thousands, even millions of people walked and said we didn't want to be part of this war with the Americans.
Yeah.
And did they listen? No, they didn't. They just went to war anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's what the government doesn't represent the people. They should represent the people. If the people say no, then basically they shouldn't do it. What was the reason why we went to the war? There was no reason for it. Sorry.
With the Ukraine war, the people haven't said no because they haven't put 2 and 2 together yet. We'll leave the last word to Melvin. Sick looking at Help Ukraine ads. People can't pay their gas bills in this country. I don't give a monkeys about Ukraine. They could have had peace if they wanted it. They just didn't want it.
But at least some people have got really cheap and very pretty Slavic brides that they can buy. So, there's a market for
yes. Oh, yes.
It's a nice
Okay.
picture, though. You got to give it that.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's Annie Leibovitz did that again. So
She did. I love her. She's great.
Mm.
His wife is very hot, though. Again, she's very hot.
Give it another 6 months and you'll be able to buy her for a $5.
What's this founded in comics?
Okay, so on some serious news
Oh,
now.
we're back to film. Fantastic.
yeah.
I could smile again.
We're talking entertainment now, folks. The serious stuff is over. So this week I read Tim Miller admits, get this, right? Get this. Terminator Dark Fate was a mistake.
No
No.
fucking shit.
No.
Ian, what do you think? It was a mistake.
What a fucking idiot. You know what? Seriously, though, Tim Miller did it for the money. It's obvious
No,
that
yeah,
Tim Miller isn't stupid, right? Because he's made some good films, right? No director is stupid, especially when they've got to the point where they've made a really good film and recognized for making that really good film. He bloody did it for the money. I'm pretty sure that he disagreed with majority of what was in that film, and
You
he
think
was just
so?
playing. Yeah,
He was
look, there's
told.
no.
Right.
Yeah, he was. There's no way that you could be handed a script and see John Connor
Yeah,
getting killed in the
right.
first 5 minutes and not question that.
Mm?
Do you know what I
Right.
mean? And
I
don't
agree.
even talk about James Cameron endorsing this film.
Didn't
They
he
must have
write
gave him
it?
a
I know
shitload of
he
money.
was really intimately involved, James Cameron, with this film, because I think he actually advertised this as. I'm sure I remember James Cameron
giving
himself
money.
advertising this as the proper
James, here's your money,
reboot
mate.
for the franchise. As in, otherwise, he sort of dismisses rightly Genesis and
Genesis.
what's the one with Christian Bale in it? That one, whatever it is.
Salvation.
And even Salvation, I think even Terminator 3, and I'm sure I remember James Cameron saying of this film, this is like the second coming of Terminator. This is what starts the story again.
But
And
he endorsed Genesis, though, didn't he?
Mm.
He had a video saying how good Genesis was, and this is
Give
the way
me
forward.
Genesis.
Then when that went away, he endorsed this one too. So there's no way the man was given money to endorse them. He needed it to make Avatar 3 and 4, didn't he? Or 2 and 1, whatever it is.
10,
you know?
9, 11.
Yeah, that's it. So
13.
that's why he did it. So obvious that's what's happening, because James Cameron's not an idiot, right? He knows
He's a
these sequels
businessman.
are rubbish. He knows they're rubbish,
Yeah.
right? There's no way. There's no, and you know what? What's the dead giveaway is Sam Raimi. When Sam
Triggered.
Raimi was asked how, what do you think? How did you tackle Doctor Strange multi-zones of madness? And he said, "Yeah, it's hard to finish a film when you didn't know the ending." Do you know what I mean? He wasn't meant to say that, but he said it, right? So
Yeah.
it's obvious. Money. It's money.
When he
That's
talks,
what it is.
Matt, would you care to read Not Brian's comments?
When will Ryan Johnson admit he made an arse of it?
He won't, because
He
his head's too
won't.
big. And too
Yeah,
round.
for sure.
2 round, yeah. 2 round.
I'm still waiting for his trilogy to get made.
It's him and the Taika Waititi one. It's
Right.
but I actually played a game. I went to visit my partner on my channel. We spent a good.
Oh, is that
I spent
Oscar?
about, yeah, I went to spend
Hello,
about an
Oscar.
hour the last time I was around his. Played a little game. It's like, which director has fallen farthest from grace in the last sort of 10 years? I think James Cameron was certainly in our top 5, if not
No.
even in the top
We'll
3.
see in.
You
we'll
know
see
what's
in
number. You know who's
December.
number one. You know who's number one.
Ooh.
And his surname begins with Smith. Come on, he is number one. He's fallen
Kevin?
so far. He's fallen so far from the pedestal that
From
he
grace,
was
yeah.
in. Yeah, seriously, that guy.
My
He should
brain's
be
drawing a
kicked.
blank. Who are we talking about?
Kevin
Kevin
Smith.
Smith.
Kevin Smith.
He-Man.
Kevin Smith, mate. He-Man. He
Uh,
made He-Man. He made
Stupid cat.
Jason Amy.
Walking
He
backwards.
made him. Don't you know who Kevin Smith is?
I actually don't know who Kevin Smith is.
How could you be
Clerks.
talking about what director fell from grace and you don't know who Kevin Smith is?
We found a weakness in Lord
James
Chord, everybody.
Cameron, Ridley Scott.
Exposed.
He's fucking awful.
He's a grifter, folks.
What has Kevin Smith done that I might have actually heard of that
Clerks.
isn't He-Man?
Clerks. He did Clerks. He did
Clerks
He-Man.
2.
He did Chasing Amy. He did.
The old geezer who had a heart attack, lost weight, and then sold out to Netflix, killing He-Man. Not once, but twice.
Oh, did he actually do the He-Man reboot then?
Yes,
Yeah,
he did.
he did Jay and
He-
Silent
he-
Bob Strikes Back.
That's
He
it.
wears
Yeah.
the baseball
seen
cap
that, yeah.
backwards.
Yeah.
Oh, lots of them do that. Oh, well, okay. I'll add an answer for this. in that case.
Oh
Time
dear.
Profit in the chat. Furlough didn't mind. He got paid.
Yeah, he did. He
Mm.
got paid.
You know-
He got paid. He actually said it in a meeting. Sorry, in an interview. He
You
got
know what,
paid.
guys? When I went to see that film, I was kind of half excited for it, knowing that the old boy was back and Sarah Connor was back. And when the first 5 minutes I thought was exceptional.
What? What
No,
film
let
were
me
you
finish.
watching?
Let me finish. I thought the first 5 minutes was exceptional. You know, like where they're in the kind of beach huts and they're drinking, and then the Terminators are coming out of the sea, and
One
Arnie,
Terminator, mate.
Arnie appears, and then the wheels fell off completely when they killed the hero.
Yeah.
It was so
that
impressive
was
as
it.
well
Game
that they
over.
did it.
Game
They did
over.
it. The opening scene of the film, at least The Last Jedi took however long it took to get around to showing us Luke Skywalker as a
Right.
bum. But Terminator Dark Fate is just immediately, first scene, everything that's just happened, everything you love about Terminator 1 and 2, no, fuck that. That's all dead. The first scene, it was impressive, actually, how...
The most incredible de-aging I had seen at the time.
Actually, it was very effective.
I
yeah.
just thought, come on, here we go. Let's fucking go. This is going to be good. And then gone.
Bang bang. You know, and they could have made this movie without and not have him be like, you know, I mean, he had the savior of the world. He could have been, but they could have made I don't know. They could have made a good movie, and not killed him. Just had him like, you know, like, hey, you had your time, but after you die in the future, you know, your predecessor, they're going after her now and everything. And it would have been better. I don't know. They just.
The thing is,
simple.
what, you know, it's obvious what you were supposed to do with this, you know, with the Terminator. What was it, 4, 5? I can't remember. I lost the count
15,
of how many
15.
were. Do you know what I mean? It was obvious. Basically, you just bring back Arnie, you de-age him, whatever, and then basically the T-1000 has to be based on someone real, right?
Yep.
So you bring Arnie back as an old guy. That was the T-1000 was based on, and you bring back Arnie as a what you call it, a deep fake killing machine, and Arnie versus the deep fake killing machine, and that's how it's or that's how it got its origin, stuff like that. That was the most logical thing to do, wasn't it? Put Arnie in the front, but no. We needed a new trans woman, whoever that boy thing looked like. We needed a small little Mexican girl, whatever.
That's me.
We need a new Terminator that did the same thing as the one in the third film. You know what I mean? It was just absolute rubbish, wasn't it?
But Linda Hamilton actually did a Mark Hamill, because she was interviewed about that scene, and you know, like Mark Hamill gave all those clues about the fact he really wasn't happy with his character. Linda Hamilton said of that scene, she said, "Look, you know, I wasn't happy with that because I thought, you know, I'm Sarah Connor. We know what Sarah Connor is and what she does, and she doesn't put up a fight. And Sarah Connor would have put up a fight, but she just sort of she just sort of flopped over and let it happen, and it was so out of character for her. But anyway, I went and got my paycheck, and it was all good."
Exactly.
We'll leave the final word to Melvin again. Dark Fate for me was like a multiverse of madness. It was entertaining, but it wasn't impressive storytelling. I was still entertained, though. Wasn't looking for a refund. Yeah, I was entertained, but
I cannot remember
just a shame what they
apart
did
from
to
that
it.
opening scene. I cannot remember almost anything about Dark Fate, apart from the fact that it has the most boring Terminator villain of all the Terminator villains.
Yeah.
And then it has the weird androgynous thing. And Sarah Connor is old and grumpy. That's basically all I remember. I don't remember what the story goes. There's some time travel thing at the end.
It was just a rehash.
Yeah, isn't she putting like cell phones in Pop-Tart bags in that movie? I can't remember. It was like Pop-Tart bags, right?
To prevent GPS tracking. Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't entertained at all. I just felt sad for the whole film and felt sad for the franchise. Although the franchise died after the second one anyway. So let's face it. So
Time Profit. I have never asked for a refund. It's not the British way, correct?
I actually got a refund from the cinema once. Yeah, I was watching Dick Tracy, and in Odeon Leicester Square, and it said it was in Dolby surround sound, and I went in there and it wasn't. So I complained to the manager and he gave me my money back. So there you go. You can get your money back. Yeah.
Yeah, it may not be the British way, but it's definitely an American way. I'll tell you that.
There's one Terminator film I would still like to see, and that is where the Terminator is sent back in time in order to probably kill James Cameron. perhaps a few other directors as well, and save the future of cinema. That would be a good meta Terminator film.
Yeah, but then if the Terminator went back to kill Cameron, that's like the grandfather paradox, isn't it?
Would he exist without it? Oh God. There's a streamer I know who's quite good on.
Yes,
time
there's
travel.
other channels that are very, very good
Yeah.
with shit like that. Moving on.
There's
Okay,
only
so-
James Cameron. He's already starting to attack the audience for his next Avatar
Oh,
film, which isn't even
no.
out yet. Which makes me really
No.
look forward to
Have
that.
you seen the
film,
trailer?
because
Have you seen the trailer?
I've seen the trailer, and he's already criticizing fans for not appreciating the true genius that is his world that he's
But
built.
that's the thing, you see. The trailer shows you nothing new at all.
Yeah,
Because remember when
yeah.
it first came out, it had proper 3D and it looked fantastic on screen. Actually, the 3D was.
Incredible.
But with this, you've seen so much CGI between then and now. You're just not impressed anymore. You just look at it and you think.
No,
Yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Finish. No, you finish
No,
your
finish.
thought.
No,
Oh, I
finish,
was just going to say
finish.
it's going to come down to the storytelling in this one. We've already seen this. It's 10 years past. So to attack somebody being like, well, we've seen this before.
13.
The storytelling in the first Avatar was awful.
Yeah, it
It
was
was.
not good. I do not like that.
It was a
movie.
visual
The only new
feast, though.
thing, this one is going to have lots of underwater stuff in it, which is like every other James Cameron film. So we've seen all of it before.
Do you think the usherettes will throw buckets of water over the people watching the film for the
You
first
pay
time?
for the
Well,
ultra immersive experience.
They have got the immersive 4D experience. haven't
They
when you go
do,
in the
they
cinema,
do.
so
Buckets of water.
they'll
I've
It's
never
spray
when, you
done
you
just,
that.
it's when you
water.
just sit there and you think, what's that smell? Why does it smell like shit?
On a serious point, though, Time Prophet, you shouldn't misgender Terminators. And then
Do
Franco
robots have
goes,
genders now too? I missed it.
Transminators.
Transminators.
Very good,
I
Franco.
can't believe how soft the producers, male producers in Hollywood has become. Because if you'd gone back 10 years, they would have never allowed any of this crap on their films. Never. You know what I mean?
No.
But I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Okay, speaking of crap on films, Disney Star Wars still a very, very hot topic, isn't it?
It always will be.
Not for me.
And Swap has posted something of this well, he retweeted. Somebody made a point that Disney Star Wars isn't Star Wars. And then somebody who was probably having a bad day in capitals said, "Oh, fuck you and your moronic bullshit simpletonism. All Star Wars content coming out of Disney is still fucking Star Wars, you denialist little fuckwit. Go suck dick."
What is
Like that you'll
Trump
say
got to
fuck
do
with,
with
but not
this?
kiss.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
What has Trump got to do with this?
That's
Do you
what
think
everybody
this-
goes to. It's ridiculous.
Do you think this was one of the accounts of Kathleen Kennedy?
Probably. This is probably her main account. She loves it.
But it's the thing. So, like, the entire media strategy for modern Star Wars is designed to elicit this kind of response. And I've got this one Obi-Wan video that I'm still scripting.
There you go.
It's massive. But there's a bit on at the beginning which
Golden
looks
Age.
into the way in which the show was trailed. And of course, everyone remembers they trailed the articles about Moses being racially abused on Instagram, and they started random hours in the morning telling people that there are many alien species in the galaxy, don't choose to be a racist, all the rest of that. The Star Wars marketing and Disney broadly marketing tactic is to try and divide fan bases in this way, because if you whip up one section of the fan base, you can rely on them for anything, even if what you produce is no good. You get acres of free media coverage, and that furthers the division. It's an economic thing as much as it is a political thing. But then you get people who've bought into it wholesale, like this person has, who immediately associates, because Disney has told them to, any criticism of modern Star Wars as being solely based on far right, in their words, neo-fascist, probably Trump supporting types of motive. And of course, this is utter nonsense. Nothing has anything to do with Trump
It's
at all.
complete bullshit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super annoying because every time this stuff comes up, they're all like Trump, and I'm like, what does that have to do with anything, you guys? Let's be serious, please.
In the chats, Sticky Belly Flapcock, Mr. Brown's mastication is getting me wet.
Just
And that
seriously,
noise is
though,
immediately driving me up again.
Seriously,
I'm dry,
though.
folks.
why are we giving a second thought? Why are we even discussing this? Because we all know that Star Wars is crap now. So let's just move
It is,
on.
yeah.
It's really
Yes.
a waste of time.
But if you want to watch a really good
it's
review
coming-
about Kenobi, go watch Lord Cords. It's very good.
I have watched them. I have
It's
watched.
very good.
I will say hello, Mr. Smith.
Yes, the fandom menace. Because the fandom menace are the bad ones, but then you get this lot of people who just resort to base insult, and that's all fine because that's good and progressive. There's only one thing I would slightly agree with them on. I think a lot of the people who say this isn't Star Wars, I can see why they're saying it, and I want to say it myself, but I think that's almost deflecting. It is Star Wars. The problem isn't that they're not producing Star Wars. The problem is that they are abusing Star Wars. That's the real problem.
Yeah.
They're not creating some separate thing and the entity stopped after George Lucas left it. These people are in control of it. That's the reason we all hate it. It's not that it isn't Star Wars. It's that it should be Star Wars. It is the corpse of Star Wars, and this is the way they've trusted up and put it on display. I don't think it's very helpful just to say, well, it's not Star Wars. I think you should take ownership over this kind of thing, and that justifies your anger over the direction they've taken it in.
It is Star Wars. It's just not for the purists.
No, I totally disagree with you, Lost Cord. I must admit. I don't think this is Star Wars. The point where they took over and created The Force Awakens, and just totally manipulate everything. Basically, it became something else. I don't believe this is Star Wars.
Yeah, they had their chance and they fucked it.
I think.
I mean, it's from a different point of view. From a different point of view.
From a certain point of view.
Matty, what do you think about the Star Wars situation?
Oh, I think it's they're driving it into the ground. I don't know. Like, I'll watch it because I always have hope that they'll bring it back to its former glory, but at the same time, I'm expecting the worst.
It's gone. Can't see it.
I don't know. But at the same time, I mean, I see these leaked, trailers for The Mandalorian season 3 and then the Ahsoka show, and I'm like, they actually look pretty good. So I'm all like, maybe it'll be good. I don't know, man.
Mephisto says the Force is female. ... Right. I will say,
what is that?
Well, I wouldn't have had a problem with the Force is female if it was well written.
I agree.
Well, the Force is not female. The Force is whatever it identifies as on any given day. I have a
Force is everybody.
If I were to sort of go out and be uncharacteristically optimistic and place a bet, I suspect the Andor show will probably prove to be, and this isn't to say it will be good in its own right, but I suspect it might prove to be one of the better shows, because it's kind of like Rogue One. No one was really expecting Rogue One. It's not a pivotal story. It doesn't have any major stakes involved. We know how it ends. It's not massively important. And Rogue One was able to use the freedom that gave to tell a story which it had some fairly significant in places faults, but it was an entertaining and a good Star Wars story precisely because we didn't have any expectations for it. And Andor is set in the same universe. I think if it goes wrong, it will be entirely to do with the injection of politics, but it has the potential to be the least damaging new story entered into Star Wars by Disney, with the exception of
Man, you should listen to yourself. You're saying the same thing. Everyone I know that is into Star Wars or Doctor Who and continues to be to support this rubbish. All of you guys say the same thing. It might be better. And every time you're proven wrong. So why are you singing the same mantra?
There's a man who's lost it. He's lost it.
No, it's going to be rubbish.
I cited Rogue One for a reason, because I think Rogue One, though it had faults,
Edwards made
Rogue One was not
the
rubbish.
Start of things, though, wasn't it? Lost Chord. It was the start of the woke. So if you watch that film very carefully, it is kind of woke. If you look at it very carefully.
It is.
Oh, in the sense that it has a female lead character. Yeah, that's fair enough. But I'm talking in terms of the story. Rogue One you can watch, and I think you can take pleasure from Rogue One. Rogue One is an exception. I'm not disagreeing that the overall direction of Star Wars is what it is. I didn't think the Obi-Wan Kenobi show would be good. I didn't think Boba Fett would be good. I was surprised that The Mandalorian wasn't as shit as I was expecting it to be. I'm not saying I think this will be good. All I'm saying is, in the manner of Rogue One, because it's inconsequential, they might at least produce something which isn't as shit as everything else they're doing. Well, they've done it before, which would be my argument. I'm not saying it's good. Rogue One, The Mandalorian.
Rogue One was ages ago. That was the start of Star Wars. That came after Force Awakens. What are you talking about?
Well, then, by definition, it's not the start, is it?
Of course it is. It's the start after, because it was the first. No. All right, I go back. It was the first spin-off. It was the first spin-off, wasn't it? Yeah. It was like you had Han Solo and you had that. and we all liked it because we didn't see what was going on. But
The thing
to
is,
say
I did not like The Force Awakens when that came out.
no, yeah, I didn't like it either. But what I'm saying is that we liked Rogue One.
Yeah.
Me and you can agree
I think
on that.
I think actually we are sort of agreeing, just with slightly
Yes.
different emphases.
Still
I'm not saying
feels
that
like
this is
a
going to
Star
be
Wars film, though,
good,
the first
and I'm not
one.
going to say it's going to save anything, and I'm not expecting anything very much of it. All I'm saying is, compared to everything else, it might not be as bad as, say, for example, Obi-Wan Kenobi is. I fully expect the subsequent offerings to be shit, but this one might be the least bad of the offerings. And I think I think there are good things to enjoy about Rogue One. And
There is.
They are, yeah.
there's not
Darth
been much
Vader.
to enjoy since. Darth Vader was that
Darth
scene
Vader
was
was
amazing.
awesome.
The
Yeah,
battle at the end
awesome.
was fabulous.
But what I'm saying is that like
Gareth
you
Edwards,
say
great director.
maybe Endor. Look, me and you both know that Endor's going to be shit because politics are still riding in this
Andor.
nonsense.
Yeah, that would be the big
Who
qualifier,
cares
because
what it's
they've actually said
Sorry.
the big problem with Andor is likely to be the politics, because I think they have come out and said they want to make it they want to sort of invoke this sort of immigration message into it and all the
Oh,
rest of
for
it. So
God's
if it's shit, it will be
sakes.
shit in that particular way, definitely.
You know
Look,
what?
nobody asked for it, and we're getting it again. Nobody asked for it, and we're getting it.
Yes, I agree with both of you on this.
Oh,
But
Yeah, me
what-
too.
Thanks,
Me
mate.
too.
What's apparent is, though, the pain of Star Wars still
Yes.
runs deep, doesn't
And
it?
I will not give these people a second of my time because
I'll
I know
just-
what I'm going to get.
I'll just throw this out
You
to the
have to,
chat.
Not scored,
Do
yeah.
you think the pain of Star Wars still runs deep? A simple Y for yes, no for no.
Do you know what?
The
It's
one
gotten to the
person who
point.
says M is just going to be being edgy, because everyone's going to answer yes to that
Yeah.
unless they want to be
But
different. Time
it's
Prophet, we're
gotten-
looking for you.
It's
There you
gotten
go.
to the point where we accept crap now, and because we would go, oh, okay, well, it's all right. Do you know, we shouldn't be accepting crap. This Star Wars stuff that's coming out of Disney should
Accept
be
nothing less.
awesome.
Yes.
It should be. I was talking to Keith the other day, and he was talking about what is it, Obi-Wan. He was going, yeah, it wasn't very good, but there were some nice bits in it. What are you talking about? You know, because there's nice bits in it doesn't mean to say it's good. It's rubbish. Why are you watching it? Do you know what I mean?
I cannot think of a nice bit in
Yeah, I
Obi-Wan.
was gonna say I don't have any nice
the
bits.
MILF. That was an amazing moment. The
MILF.
death and Calculon dying. That was the highlight.
Don't even know who that is, but hey,
It's the droid
robot.
thing,
That
but
robot.
I never watched it.
Rogue
I never
One.
watched it.
It doesn't even matter. I didn't even like that part. I was like, whatever.
In the chat, Z, Star Wars ended when Lucas sold it.
True.
Well, yeah, but he's still.
It was
he's
on its
disappointed.
way.
He's upset though. I can tell he's upset because he didn't turn up to any of the screenings, did he?
Yeah, Mr. Smith.
So
No, he
he's
wasn't invited. Mr. Smith, I don't
Right.
even remember what happened for most of Rogue One. The finale was good, though. It was. I think it benefited from using original characters and not shitting all over Star Wars Legacy. And Gareth Edwards, his love for it. And we've
Yeah,
never
he
seen
was
him
also a
since.
fan.
Yeah, but it was what's his face, Tony Gilroy, that came in and really
He saved
you
it,
know,
yes, because
yeah.
he was under pressure. He couldn't quite cross the T's and dot the I's on it, could he? So they had to get somebody in.
It's just basic stuff like using Y-Wings against Star Destroyers. Y-Wings exist. They're really good. They're very effective. You don't need to invent some wacko new bomber thing. Use a Y-Wing. Rogue One got the space battles right. And it's a very simple thing. It's
Fantastic space battle.
elementary. It's fundamental to Star Wars. It's very hard, you would think, to get that wrong. And then The Last Jedi came along.
Yeah, my favorite part is when the X-Wing hovers right in front of a Sith Lord.
What you call it? You know, Rogue One was very entertaining as far as I'm concerned. But when you look back at it, you can tell that was the beginnings of Kathleen Kennedy's reign. You know, I mean, you know,
the lead character.
But yeah, you can see, and also the girl who played the lead character, her acting was absolutely awful.
Yeah, she was very wooden.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, you go.
Very toothy, good-looking girl, but acting
She's
shite.
okay.
New face, Red Sai. Wait,
Rest in
The only
peace.
character I had any investment in at all.
wait, and Calculon.
All 1 minute of him.
I think they need to add that. We've got May the 4th, and we need a Wade Day. I think
That's
to-
true. I agree with that 100%.
Franco gets it. Inquisitor Wok, best character, did fuck all with him.
Just
Also, in Rogue One, I actually
Cheers,
did
Andy.
care about the characters. I actually cared when they
Yeah.
died, you know. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they played.
well-
it had the benefit of that self-contained story.
has-
They didn't have to carry characters through, and I think that's the problem. It wasn't really concerned with a legacy for itself or with spinning out a greater story than itself. It could just kill everyone off at the end.
Yeah, for sure.
As I said, I think
Which-
what's apparent is Star Wars pain. The guys in the chat as well, you can tell the Star Wars pain runs very deep.
Yeah, which it makes me wonder about this Andor show is like there's going to be no like high stakes because we know Andor is
Well, he
going to
dies.
survive
Yeah,
because he has to die in
The
Rogue
end.
One. So anything that happens in this show is not he's not in danger. So it's like, okay, well, I don't have
Yeah,
to worry
that
about
is-
him dying because he's
the
not
same thing
going
with the Solo. I mean, Solo had the same problem.
that lost
They
money
try and-
apparently.
They did lose money. It's the first ever Star Wars film to lose money. But I
Yeah.
mean, Solo tries to throw in these tense sequences where, is Chewie going to fall off the train? Well, obviously he's fucking not going to fall off the train because
Right.
he's going to be in the next film. So
Yeah.
no. But I think it probably does indicate desperation if they're going back to Andor for
the only reason why they're doing
that's
that's political. The only reason why they're doing it's
Yeah,
political.
yeah.
There's no reason for this
Ooh.
character to exist in the Star Wars universe other
No,
than
no.
when it was in Rogue One. That's it. It's obvious to everyone that has a brain. So anyway, whatever.
Well, not everyone, but not Brian Young. Rogue One review show coming up soon, folks.
that might actually be fun. When's the anniversary?
There's an anniversary.
Well, no, is it like, with like, is it 5 years, 10 years,
Who
whatever? it is?
cares? Everyone's getting an
No
anniversary
idea.
these days.
Just the only kind of semi-decent snippet of Star Wars we've ever had since Disney got it. Rogue One will be doing that soon. So, okay. Henry Winkler, the Fonz,
I love Harry Winkler.
dropped this a couple of days ago. Can you read that, Ian?
First day rehearsals, 4th season of Barry. Wow, they're bringing it back, even though the ending was a bit of a downer.
Yeah, I'm still on season 1, but Harry
All
Winkler's
right.
character is my favorite one.
He's brilliant. He's
my
absolutely
favorite
brilliant. I mean, it's hard to imagine what they can do from this point on. I hope they're not going to kill it by trying to cough up another a reason to make another season. Because as far as I was concerned, the last season kind of ended the way it should end, really. But because success again, they want to cough up more, I guess. But we'll see. I'm a huge fan of Barry. I think Barry's one of the best shows on TV for
I
recent
genuinely hope, and I even posted this. I retweeted, I tweeted him. Please let the episodes be more than 30 minutes.
Actually, no. I think it's quite nice when it's 30.
It needs to be an extra 10 minutes because
Because
literally
when you're eating your breakfast,
when I'm munching on my toast, has it finished?
yeah,
And I'm not talking about the toast either.
yeah.
Barry is genuinely fantastic.
It's one of those shows that's been ignored.
Yeah,
And it. I mean, it's one of those. I guess it's a niche thing, I guess. But you guys should try and catch it. It's really worth your while.
Franco, not seen it. Time
Yeah.
Prophet, not seen it. If you're in the UK, guys, and you got Sky, I think it's on box sets, so you can binge it.
No, it's on Sky Atlantic. You can, it's still on Sky Atlantic.
Season 1 of Barry is
really
just,
good.
It's just
Really good.
a delight.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Mm.
Genuinely can't wait for this. I would imagine that if it's probably going to be early next year by the looks of it.
Mm.
Okay, so let's move on.
Oh, this looks great, doesn't it?
Channel favourites, Anna de I can never say Armas.
Yeah, Anna de Armas.
The highlights of No Time to Die.
Yeah, for sure.
You've seen the trailer, guys. You've seen the trailer.
Yeah.
Negative. Is it good?
There's some shots where she really looks like Marilyn. Sorry,
absolutely. Mate. No. You're talking truth.
Maybe,
Go.
Yeah, I was just gonna say maybe that's why she's had the work done to look like her a little bit.
She's still
hot. Yeah.
She's so hot. Like it's ridiculous how
Hot
hot
as
she
fuck,
is. Yeah. And
channel favorite for a reason.
Yeah.
Well, my wish is that this is just as good as the Elvis movie. I'm hoping it is. So
I'm looking at. I usually don't like these kinds of movies just because I'm like, I don't really care about real people. I want I don't want to relive real life, but I'm looking forward to this movie. And Anna de Armas again is so freaking hot; it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
No, she
so
is.
yeah.
We'll see. We'll
Although
see.
I saw some people being all like, I don't want them to what was the word they used? They talking about like I don't want them to something about rape and everything like oh god, I wish I could remember the right word that they used, but I was like, oh come on. I was like, you're being crazy. You're being crazy. I think this looks good.
In
It
the
does
chat,
look
much of a surprise to me, Andy Mouse, I'd shag her.
Yeah, she's so hot. It's like ridiculous.
I know, as we said, Ian and myself think the only highlight of No Time to Die.
Yeah,
I agree.
You know what, right?
I would agree with that too.
There's a big difference between her and, say, the lead girl in No Time to Die. With the lead girl in No Time to Die, she's quite pretty, right? But that's all you can say about her. But then when you look at this woman, she exudes sexuality.
Oh yeah,
there's something about her that exudes that kind of, sexiness.
Yeah, I mean, if No Time to Die had been made in the 80s, she would have been the lead. And not
definitely.
the other one.
Not Brian. She's no Daisy Ridley. Agreed.
Well, she can close her mouth for one thing. Although Marilyn Monroe couldn't for other reasons. Yeah. I'm just wondering whether Andy Mouse actually has a minimum standard. As in,
breathing.
Just breathing.
Breathing. Okay. That's my standard as well. Geralt, Anna isn't that hot. Lol.
You might be in a minority there.
That's why I said lol. Red Sai, best part of the Blade Runner, the new one.
Yes,
she was in that, yeah. But
very nice.
She was in the Grey Man as well with this stupid wig. They didn't give her any nice clothes. It just looked like it was just ridiculous. There was no point in having her in it anyway.
Yeah, she is in a film with who plays Batman?
The sex scene. Apparently, the sex scene, isn't there?
Oh, with
Ben Affleck.
Oh yeah, Ben Affleck. Yeah, I saw that film.
Yes,
it was interesting.
She's quite good in there. I mean, she gets naked in there, which is basically the only reason to watch it. But yeah,
okay,
she's lovely.
So she is.
She, you know what, right? If she, she's probably going to be a huge star, and but the thing is, though, she won't be as huge as, say, someone like Julia Roberts, because the whole playing field's changed in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So they're gonna sort of like suppress her basically because she's very sexual. She's very, very pretty. So actually gorgeous, not pretty, wrong word to use for
lovely.
Her. So you know what I mean? And Hollywood seems to be against that kind of look these days, don't they? They'd rather have someone overweight or someone of color, whatever, blah, 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 that kind of stuff, playing the politics. Okay. So she'd probably be pushed aside a lot.
I'm
glad she's made that film. Yeah, glad she's made it.
Yeah. We'll quickly just mention Neighbours in the soap opera finished its 37-year run.
Excellent.
Good, it's gone.
It was. I watched the last episode. It was good to see the old faces. It was a nice. Yeah, it was. It was a 3-part. It was a 3-episode kind of end special, and it was genuinely good to see all these Hollywood actors come out of the woodwork and these big mega stars like Donovan and Guy Pearce and Kylie turn up for the last episodes. It was very heartfelt. It was lovely. It was very sentimental because when I was a student in the late 80s, we would finish uni and then rush to the halls of residence to see the 5:30 viewing of Neighbours, because in the UK it was huge.
It showed twice, didn't it? It showed at 1 o'clock, and then it showed at 5 in the evening. Was it 5 in the evening?
5:30. It was the students writing in to the BBC saying, "Look, we want to watch it, but we can't because we're at uni." So they put a second showing on, and the rest is history. And genuinely nice to see. It was nice.
Is it on YouTube?
It is, yeah. Time Prophet doesn't like it though. It was shit. Thank you, Time Prophet. Okay.
I never used to watch it.
Yeah, I did. It was It was good.
I did like Kylie though. I remember in those days she was really hot in some of those videos when she was singing for.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only thing I remember. Oh god,
Okay.
what's this? Oh, Bernard.
Okay.
Or Bernard, as the Americans would say.
Bernard Joseph
Bernard.
Cribbins, OBE, born 29th of December 1928, died July 28th, 2022, age 93.
Wow, good innings, mate. Good innings.
Bit
Fantastic.
of a British institution, yes, Ian?
I wouldn't go that far, but he was a brilliant actor as far as I was concerned. I think they are saying that now, aren't they? That he's a British institution, but
He was in one of the Doctor Who films, wasn't he? From the
he was indeed. He was indeed.
Z Legend.
It wasn't Invasion of the Daleks, was it?
I think it was. Was it one of the Peter Cushing ones?
Yes, it was.
Because he was that was actually filmed in not my hometown, but the Bedford, the town nearest my village. Most of Invasion of the Daleks, where they were ostensibly in London, was actually filmed in Bedford because Bedford looks like it's a bomb site. And
have you seen the beginning of that movie though? The beginning of that movie is really violent. He gets because he's a policeman and he gets attacked by these people. They smack him in the head and hit him everywhere.
I can guarantee nothing about Bedford has changed since.
Here you go, and let's not forget the Wombles. Thank you.
Of course, he was amazing. His voice acting in the Wombles, fantastic.
And we must be doing okay because we've got the bots in.
That.
My beautiful moderators, could you delete these naughty people, please?
Only after you followed the link, of course.
Yeah, I've got to click on first. Give me a minute. Z3PO, the only actor to appear in 2 separate Doctor Who universes.
Yep, I guess that's true.
And the last time we're going to see him.
Yeah,
coming up.
It's a shame that he has to involve this kind of Doctor Who. Should have stopped when he should have. That's what I reckon. But yeah, he's as I said, he's a good actor, and I'm it's sad that he's gone, but that's the way it goes, I guess.
Stephen Amore, he was a paratrooper. Didn't know that. Yeah, Stephen, part of British TV culture.
Which is dying.
Yeah. Okay. So just before we came on air, finally, Nichelle Nichols died yesterday. Matt, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. Listen, I met her once. She came here to my city and did a con. She was so sweet, so nice, and like Ian said before, in her younger days, she was very hot. Especially in this picture, she's very hot. I like the eyes she's given. No, she's great. This is so sad. Such a sweet person, and the world is worse off for her leaving.
Born December 28th, 1932. She died on the 30th of July, 2022, 2 days ago now. Happy August 1st, everybody. 89 years of age.
Wow.
Not enough time.
Franco,
she was sultry, yes.
Absolutely.
Thing is, though, she had a good life. You know what I mean? Star Trek really did, bolster her... I guess.
I wish she would have gotten more work, though. I mean,
yes, ambassador for NASA as well.
Yeah. No, but she was happy in her life, though, as far as I can tell. She wasn't having fights on Twitter and all that kind of stuff, was she? You know what I mean? So,
Martin Luther King was a massive fan.
Well, the story goes that she didn't want to do Star Trek. And then Martin Luther King persuaded her to do it.
Yeah. And the rest is history a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of the maddening things that so much of modern media is sort of predicated on the idea that we've not made any progress since then. In other words, the exact same social issues are the social issues of the day. The same injustices are the injustices of that day. We've done nothing. And this, as Moses Ingram said of Star Wars, is the time we are now starting to do diversity. And that's annoying in its own right, but it's doubly annoying when you consider that this is essentially erasing the real trailblazing work done by people like this. People who really did push the boundaries, people who actually did fight for real progress, and who, without whom you probably wouldn't have got the same normalization of racial diversity, sexual diversity, all the rest of it that you now actually do enjoy and take for granted on TV today. So whenever something like Star Trek Discovery comes around and lectures you as though she never existed, no, one woman on 1 or 3, seasons of original Star Trek did way more for social progress, social justice, social diversity, and equity than any modern offering does. And she didn't preach about it ever. She was there, and her presence was enough. And I think we should probably spend more time focusing on the great work that she did, and less time propagandizing as though she never did any of it.
But also, she was. I do believe she was the first person on TV to do a racial kiss
with Kirk, and there was uproar, wasn't there? Interracial,
But there's a story behind that. It was meant to be a Leonard Nimoy that was meant to kiss her, but William Shatner put his size 9s in, and
because he's
told
a
the
hack.
producers he's the star, so he should do it.
He's a scene-stealing hack.
Yeah, but that's why you got the relationship in the JJ one in the first Star Trek. That's why you had the relationship between, because of that actually. So
Time Prophet in the chats. Lord, would you care to read that, please?
Martin Luther King would be mad at Black Lives Matter. Yes, he would. I mean, the whole BLM movement is predicated. Well, the BLM is derived from Malcolm X, not Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King dreamt of a time when you could be colorblind. Character over color of skin, whereas now we're told that there is something innate to people of different skin colors which you cannot possibly do away with. You can't understand the black experience as a white person, and black people can't relate to white people. That is the Malcolm X black separatist ideology that's won out, which is a real shame, but it's antithetical to all that Martin Luther King stood for. But that makes Martin Luther King more useful because he is such an iconic figure in the history of racial justice and civil rights that you can say, look, you are overtly contradicting his legacy here. And if you're going to do that, you should at least be honest and say that's what you're doing.
Z3PO, we'll finish after this comment. Dropped in on Forbidden Planet in London in 1994 to pick up some missing Marvel back issues, and inside the entrance was Nichelle Nichols signing copies of Beyond Uhura. I still have my copy. Wow.
You probably get a pretty penny for that. Now.
Certainly now. So rest in peace, Nichelle Nichols. Amazing. Amazing. Right. I think that is it, guys. Genuinely a really fun show this evening. I will thank the chat because the chat always bring their A game. Thank you, my friends. I'll thank the guests. I'll get them on screen. Just bear with me. From the bottom of my screen, then, I will thank the Mega Geek. Thank you, Ian.
No worries, guys. No worries.
The wonderful Matt Cad 83.
Thank you for having me. I always have a good time.
Please check out Matt Cat's channel, everybody. The link is in the description. Great channel.
Check the cat out.
And speaking of great channels, we are not worthy. The Lord himself.
Not worthy.
He's still sucking up, isn't he? God's sakes.
I'm after a job. I'm
surprised he still comes on this.
So am I.
I must enjoy it then, mustn't I? I think the trick is if we do Tron every Saturday, then the Sunday stream will always be so much better by comparison. So that's sorry, Rennie, for Tron again. No, thank you as ever. This has been really good fun.
I think that's it. Hopefully we are back on Saturday with a film. Don't know what it is yet. I think it possibly is For Your Eyes Only, James Bond.
Great stuff.
That'll be fun.
On that bombshell, I will say, stay safe, everybody. Have a great week. Thank you, Bijots. Pinch Punch, first of the month. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.